Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the last day of the aescripts Summer Sale, Week 1. This is a live stream that we've been doing 3 times this week, and we've been going over all the cool deals that are going on, and it's exciting because there's a lot more deals that are coming down in the future for the summer, but this is your last day for your chance to get a bunch of deals on some really great plugins and extensions for After Effects, Premiere, Photoshop. There's a whole swatch of different programs that you can do and increase your workflow. My name is Ryan Selvy. I am your host along with Lloyd today. And I am a motion designer and graphic designer by trade, and I use a lot of these tools and products to really increase how fast I can get work done, and also to help my sanity. We'll be going over a lot of different things today. If you didn't have a chance to check any of the previous live streams earlier this week, also check them out. It's just a really great way to get a good idea of what the offerings are and what the extensions can do. Lloyd is a very talented I want to say animator, but not even animator, because he's just been in the industry for so long, and he works directly with all these developers to really make sure that these are top tier quality pick extensions that are offered on his site. But I'm doing a lot of talking for him, so I'm actually going to go ahead and bring him in. But thank you guys for being here. This is a live stream, so by all means, please comment, say hello in the chat, ask questions, give us opinions. We want to hear you. Hello right off the bat to Nitin and Aboli Fazl and Injiang. It's really good to see you guys here. Please feel free to keep talking and let us know what your thoughts are. But I'm going to go ahead and bring in Lloyd. Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. It's last day, which I'm a little sad, but also it's exciting because I filled up my shopping cart a little bit more today, and I got a few more extensions, which I'm actually going to talk about. One of the ones that I got towards the end of the stream, which is the Vertex tool, which I'm really excited to try out. But yeah, no, it's been a good week, and I'm hoping that we can get some people to bite the bullet and buy some things that have been in their wish list for a while.
I hope it's not as painful as biting a bullet.
No, well, I mean, it could be biting a bullet if you're as greedy as me, and then you just end up buying a bunch and a bunch.
Actually, on Twitter, somebody commented that they just bought Boa. And were surprised at how inexpensive it was and how they couldn't believe they had gone all this time going about it manually or doing other workarounds. So,
oh, yeah. I mean, that's one of those things. It's like you're happy that it's good, worth, and value, but then you're also angry because you remember all the years before that leading up to there that you've wasted so much time.
Exactly.
But no, it's exciting. It's a good thing. It's a good bullet to bite. But,
and by the way, I am 100% an animator. I was as a matter of fact, things have changed. Back in my day, I'm an old guy now, you were only one thing. So you were either an animator or you were a designer or you were a 3D guy. And even within 3D, it was segmented. So you either were like a lighter or a rigger. I think that today, everybody's what they used to call a generalist, or somebody who can actually do many things. And specifically in my day, if you were a designer, you were not allowed to be technically proficient. You were supposed to be like, I don't even know how to launch Photoshop,
Stay in your lane.
Yeah, stay in your lane. And so I actually would I was a designer, but I would also animate, and obviously I could also do a little bit of programming. So I really had to kind of keep all that to myself, and all of this aescript stuff was born from me kind of trying to find an outlet for all the technical stuff while I was doing all the design stuff. So I think times are better now.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, better and worse. I mean, at the same time, you got to juggle a lot of things, but it's it's good and bad. I'm a generalist, so I like to hop around. I never know how to explain myself, especially when I'm talking to someone who doesn't do any motion graphics. And they're like, "What do you do for a living?" And I'm like, "I do art stuff. I don't know what to tell you." But
Yeah,
it's
no,
exciting.
dude, trust me, it's better that you can say, not just who cares what people think. The fact that you can do it is what matters, right? The fact
Right.
that
No,
you can
100%.
actually tackle a 3D problem or a 2D problem or whatever the problem is, you no longer have to stop and say, well, I can't do that. That's really why I think we live in exciting times that, and this is kind of like the goal of our site is to provide tools that make it easier for you to do things that you might otherwise not be able to be an expert on. And nobody needs to know that. Nobody needs to know that you are. I think that the smarter, the smart problem solvers are the ones who just figure out how to get it done. How you do it is really your business. As long as it gets done, that really is what matters. So.
Yeah, I had a professor my senior year of college where he was like, "All right, you guys made it all the way to this point. I'm going to tell you something that probably all your other teachers were too scared to tell you. People are going to ask you to do things that you don't know how to do. Just say yes and then just figure it out." I was like,
Yeah,
"What?"
no, true.
He's like, "Most of my success in my life has come from just saying yes and then panicking and figuring it out. But it normally always works out. So good luck." It's like, now go
No,
graduate into the
dude, I
world.
can't tell you how true that is. Like in my generation, you had to have all the knowledge in your brain, and I think that today the real skill is to know how to look for it. Like if you're a good Googler, if lack of a better word, if you know how to find the information, don't waste having all the information. It's just knowing how to get to the information. I think that's really where
Yeah.
the true skill is.
Um,
But
By the way, somebody in Instagram saying it was great seeing you at NAB, my dude. What is NAB?
oh, that's NAB. That was our we did the MoGraph meetup. Uh, it's the first taste of in-person meetings. It's the national. I think NAB stands for National Association of Broadcasters, but it's become this like huge conference in Las Vegas for all things video and motion graphics and production and shooting cameras and all that stuff. So
Oh, cool. Was that recent? Was that post COVID or was that pre
yeah, it
COVID?
happened just last month, and I forgot the exact date, but yeah, in
Very
April.
cool. Well, Omidia Pakman was the one that saw you, said story of his career. But also hello to Nick Hill and Yo, what's that? That's a great name. And Graph Inject. It's good to have you guys in the chat. We're going to go ahead and we're going to bring in Data Clay in just a minute. But before we do that, we want to go over one of the most popular extensions that's on aescripts and even beyond aescripts. It's one that I see a lot about when I'm perusing my YouTube channels and anywhere motion graphics related. People really love this tool. And I have been using Motion 3 for a long time, and it does kind of something similar, but Flow actually is really good at just really simplifying the graph editor and being able to really help you animate your motion. So let's check out the preview for it, and then I was actually going to pull something up, and I was just going to kind of show you guys some of the cool stuff that I thought was a top tier selling point for Flow. And let's check it out, and then we'll talk about it. All right, so I know this is kind of tiny, so I will try to expand and contract as best as I can for this part. But you can see that I am always kind of struggling for. Oh, that's not what we want. Just switch like that. I'm always kind of struggling for real estate when it comes to my plugins, just because I get so many of them. And Flow is one of the really cool things about Flow is that you have all of these presets that you automatically get when you download it, but you can also have some user curves as well. and that goes outside of just your user curves. You can actually download some curves that other people have uploaded to the internet, including like Google has one for object design, which is really cool, or material design. And there's also works from the guys at School of Motion who are experts in the field. And you can also go ahead and export a library. And if you're working on a project with somebody else and you want to have similar motion and you don't want to have to worry too much about the Bezier values and having them import them manually, you can go and you can export them, and then you just have them in this really cool favorite section. But just by default, you already get all of these, which are very popular. The regular ones that you would see that have the values. The thing that I was saying earlier when I was talking about motion uses a speed graph tool, and this uses a value graph tool, which they're very similar, but at the same time, sometimes when you're messing with, especially expressions, or you're messing with things that have parents, it gets a little funky and weird. But the beautiful thing about this is that you can go and you can just manually adjust any of the curves. There's also a few cool tools that you can do when you hold down like Control. It's yelling at me because I don't have any layers selected. But I guess I should add something just so that it doesn't yell at me. So let's say that like we create a position here, and I'm just gonna move it from like left to right. Very long duration of a thing. We'll even go and I'll just make it so it's looping out so we can just see it real quick. If without any curves of sorts, you can see that it just goes in a linear path, nothing special to it. But as soon as you select these two, you can automatically add some ease to both of them by selecting all of them and having an ease add to it. You can continue. I have a setting set on it so that it automatically updates it as I click through. Otherwise, by default, you go and you click apply. But if you go into the settings, you can actually set it to automatically update. But I think personally, the thing that is really strong about it is not only just because you can adjust it here, but the cool thing is you can go and if you select a Bezier curve and you hold Control, it'll keep the length of the axis, or you can do you can hold Alt and it will hold the direction of it, which is really nice. And then finally, I think it's Control Shift. Yeah, it'll do both of them. It'll mirror both of them for you, so that way you can make sure you are properly adding to both sides of the curve. And then, of course, yeah, as you go, you can just automatically have that update on, and you can preview in real time, which is really nice. And you can also
that's actually that's really one of the really cool parts about it is that you can preview it in real time, and then you can browse existing, like you said, professionally made curves, or if something is almost perfect, you can just give it a little tweak, and it has a lot of precision. So that's really awesome.
And it doesn't only have to affect like both uniformly. You can do easy ease in and easy ease out. So depending on the effect that you want to have on your layers and your keyframes, you can make sure that it only affects what you want. You can also have something where it can apply to an expression or not, which is nice because then you can affect it so it can have your expression kind of exist in its own lane and then have the curves work in their own way, or you can have them work together uniformly.
To summarize, I think this is like the secret to all the really high-end animation that you see. Like if you see stuff that just has that like really cool like fast slow kind of move, they're probably using flow behind the scenes. So just put that in your toolbox.
And another cool thing about it too is like you'll see here that it even adds some support for if you want to do some overshoot as well. A lot of times I will make my projects a little messy and I will add overshoot in my own keyframes rather than do the curves. And this has kind of encouraged me to clean it up and bring down my keyframes to build the overshoot into the graph tool itself.
Yeah,
really
exactly.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Cool.
so it's a really popular tool. I don't want to oversell it or anything and sit on it for too long, but
I think that's possible.
but it's really really great. It's a great price. It'll make its value to you right off the bat, and you guys should check it out.
Cool.
Yeah. So next up, as I was saying, we have Data Clay coming on. Really nice guy, which I'm really excited about. And I'll let him do all the intro for what he's going to be talking about. But please welcome Data Clay. Hey, welcome.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good.
Hey,
How
Ari.
are you guys? Hey, Lloyd.
Happy
Long
Friday.
Happy Friday. Yes, definitely. Zen Fridays feels
You
good.
were originally going to be with us on Monday, but my computer decided to attack me. So I appreciate your flexibility.
I understand.
And it's great to have you back.
Thank you. Good to be back. Thanks for having me on, Lloyd. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, so yeah, I'm so excited about the sales, and I love seeing new info about the tools that are coming out. So it's fantastic to be included. So thank you.
Yeah, and we should say that you make Templater, which is like the ultimate workflow tool.
Thank you, Lloyd.
And one of the things about the plugins versus the workflow tools is the plugins get all of the hype because people put out videos and you can clearly tell it was made with particles or whatever. But a lot of times people don't know that like some stuff is being done behind the scenes with tools like Templater that are really super powerful. And so that's why we love having you on, so we can talk about it.
I mean, so it's fantastic. Like the user base keeps on growing and the application space keeps on growing. And so I'm continually impressed with like what the customers are doing. And I mean, we released the new version, Templater 3, recently back in April, and there's some, long-standing bugs we fixed, but also new features. And I can share my screen if you'll allow.
Actually, why don't you start with a quick description of what Templater does, and then show us a new feature. I think for people who are not familiar with it.
Yeah, so Templater allows you to have a data set like stored in a spreadsheet or some kind of JSON object, and you can map certain properties or columns of data to specific layers inside of your After Effects project with Templater. So really what it does is it allows for automatic reversioning of your creative assets really quickly and intuitively. So the workflow to build out the dynamic layers is really thought through, and we approached it a little more of a user-centric focus. And, it allows people and it empowers them, users, to create many different variations of a singular master composition, but it has methods to create output in a variety of different forms. Like you can replicate an AE project with data. You can render out compositions with data merged. You can also now render out still images. So the still image feature at marker points in a specific composition is something that users have wanted for a very long time. And so we're calling that spot checking, because really what happens is, in a studio setting, you might have like 1,000 different jobs that need to be processed, right? Well, it's not so easy to verify that your data is going to look great in all 1,000 iterations and all those 1,000 outputs. And you don't want to wait for the render queue to go through all 1,000. So with the spot check, it allows you to just export one single frame across all your data. And then you can share that amongst your team and say, hey, does this data look good? Or are there any characters that are off? Or did something happen in the batch process just for this one frame that's going to throw off the entire huge batch render, right? So, a lot of the customers are ad agencies and folks that are sitting on a lot of data, like newsrooms, weather graphics, sports graphics, things like that.
Yeah, speaking of NAB, I feel like that's right in the exact market.
Yeah, exactly. And, the other thing is that you can put Templater with After Effects on a server, and app developers can create video on demand, customized video on demand with a server-based installation of Templater, which we call bot. And so that kind of just monitors data. And so we've introduced this concept, not this concept, but this product that we call Q, and it allows Templater to read from an API that we control and that we understand how it works. And it's got endpoints where you can integrate your own apps to create video. And that's the future, in my opinion, of compositing, in terms of brands being able to communicate one-to-one and target specific people and have creative look like it was crafted for them. That's a trend that's been happening over the last decade, but I think it's getting more intense. As Lloyd, I'm sure with new tool makers, new platforms that emerge, it's just becoming kind of a standard thing. And I think our approach is really to hand over the tool to the user base rather than lock them dead into a solution. A lot of the data that gets passed through Templater, Data Clay can never see. Like, we don't know what our customers are doing with it. So that's a big win. The security aspect of data is very important for all kinds of sizes of companies. And so not only the data itself, but the outputs too, which contain that data, that rendered data baked in. So by giving the user base a tool, it gives them control over really what's happening to the data. And, it, of course, reduces our reliability.
So if I should say that one of the things that I think sets Templater apart is that it is production proven. Like you said, it's used by a lot of high-end enterprise customers who have really put it through its paces, and it delivered. So while it is a enterprise grade product, it is very approachable, and you guys have split it up into two different products. You got, like you said, you have the bot, which is like, if you're a really high-end agency and you have a programmer and you really want to automate things. But then there's the pro version, which if you're just an After Effects animator yourself and you just want to, like the name says, if you create a template and you want to create a lot of versions yourself on your own computer, then the pro version is really great for you. And it's just as easy to use and figure out. So I think that's what.
Yeah, for sure. And just a little bit of a history. I named it Templater because I like the name Wiggler, which was that panel inside of Adobe's thing. So I was like, I'm making templates, so I just call it Templater. It was that, at that era where everything ended in ER, or you didn't have the E, and it was just the R.
Tumblr,
and I think
Twitter,
Lloyd and I had that conversation. You were like, dude, Templater's going to get lost in the SEO stuff. Like, I don't know.
I remember that.
Anyway, so I mean, you have a point. It's true. When you type in Templater to Google, you see like, stock image sites or stock, asset sites instead of our product. But anyway,
no, but you've owned Templater After Effects. If you put the two together, you definitely well, let's see a demo of the new features because they're super exciting. To be honest.
Yeah, for sure. Let me go ahead and share the screen. Let's see. Okay. All right. So what I've got here is just a animated, stylized Instagram post.
Let me switch you real quick.
1 second, Ari.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Put your screen on live here.
Okay.
There you go.
There we go.
You're good to go.
All right, cool. So this is just like an Instagram post that's stylized inside of AE, right? It's got some animations, and all of the assets here, the layers, are dynamic. And what I've got here is some data connected. So if I go click on the transport preview beginning, you can see all the assets change as I advance or iterate through the data. So in the batch assets group here, you connect Templater to a data source. It can be a file, which is this button, a Google Sheet, which is this button, or an API. And the Q API is what we've built for our users. So one of the nice things, though, is this concept of a spot check. And I mentioned that just briefly. And so what you do is you create like a frame that you want to see how the data looks in all of the iterations. So what I'm going to do is kind of find this zoom place where the motion blur is like really high. And I want to see how this data that's stored inside of my Q campaign, which is this, how each one of these rows looks like inside of the composition. So just briefly, inside of Q, we can see this is JSON data. Each job is a row, and inside of the job is just key pairs, just JSON. So since After Effects is connected to that data source, as I click, it's just grabbing the next job in that campaign, that group, and then reversioning it. So what I'm going to do is make sure I have my destination folder. I'm going to delete all of this content here just so it's clear and we can see what's happening. and then I'm going to go ahead and click spot check. And what happens is it's going to grab the data that it is supposed to grab from Q, and then it just exports at that specific spot check that that was, or if there's no marker, it creates spot checks across the timeline. So you can see here's video 1, here's video 2, and so on and so forth. So if you have a marker and you name that marker, it will respect that position in time. So let's let it go through its fifth one, because when you connect to Q, you have pages of data, and so I've only set it to 5. But if I go back to here and then create a marker here and call this zoom, for example, click OK, and then hit spot check again, what's going to happen is we open up the Finder here, which I think went away. Let's see, it's going to be in here, my drive, demo output. So now you can see just the zoom position is getting exported. So that's very powerful in terms of quality assuring your content. It also opens the door to, dare I say it, print design, because now you can export still images out of AE using data. So, we're kind of eating a little bit of InDesign server's lunch, but that's okay. It's fine. Okay, so that's spot checking. But really, what we're really excited about is, it's the newest release supports Apple Silicon. It is now using the multi-threading, the multi-frame ready functionality inside of After Effects. So it's a thread safe plugin. And then, the real star though of this release is just the deep integration with Q. And, one of the cool things is with Q is it's got a series of endpoints which are documented, and you can create your own apps to dump data into there. So what I've done is I've built this type form, in a point and click method, and I'm going to just kind of create a new video entry. I think you're in New York, and I'm not sure. But yeah. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make you Benicio del Toro right here, and then uploading an image through. I
hope you're typecasting me as a good-looking guy and not a Mexican guy.
No, this is you right here. This is you, dude. This is this is you from Fear and Loathing. So then we click on submit. So now what we can do is look over here in our campaign, and you should see that a new job is created here. And if I open up this right here, we've got the data. So now what's really cool is that when it enters in, it's set to ready. And if I go back to AE and just hit enable bot, what's going to happen is it monitors that data source. And so when it sees a ready job, it's going to pick it up, render it out, and then mark up. You can see it's already changed the dashboard to processing. After Effects is doing the behavior that it should be doing. There you are, Lloyd, Benicio. There's the image. So, you don't have to have expertise in After Effects. So I should say that our tool is really a systems design tool. It's not really, like you said, Lloyd, it's not a VFX, sexy tool that I wish I could make. But this is, the choices I've made in life. And I love the fact that,
I find it very sexy, Ari. I just want to tell you, there's other people like it.
Okay, thank you. All right, that sounds good. But it's really an empowerment tool, I feel like, and we are looking for really creative ways for people to do these integrations between Q and then Templator, and I think this opens the door to so many. Yeah.
If I can just interject, because I think you just flew past this, and what you showed was so powerful. Just to recap, so that people can see what you just showed. You created a type form, which is a third-party website that allows you to create forms for free, right? And you were able to integrate that with your Q service that then inserted data into an After Effects template, and then within seconds rendered a customized version for the data you entered, which was my name and this avatar, and you rendered it out. And it could be delivered in a custom manner, right? So it could be emailed or posted or uploaded somewhere, right?
What we call hooks inside of the tool. Developers can do anything they want to the output, but it's we are working on in terms of our product line, we are working on a tool that kind of integrates with video streaming providers in S3. And so we're getting towards that more simplified distribution tooling for the users so that it can kind of go full circle from data to distribution, really. So,
and over on Instagram, Alan Barnwell is saying that Q allows Templater to scale beyond the limitations of Google Sheets, which is exciting.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's 100 times. And by the way, we have control over that. I think, Lloyd, when we released the tool, the Google Sheets thing was like, wow, right? It was like exactly separating. Right. It was like the data was in the cloud and AE was talking back, and I was like, oh my God. But really what we found was that Google started, they tinker a lot over, the Googlers do. And so we have to keep up with their API. And I was like, enough of this. So then Q was kind of like an API that we could control and that we have the power to do whatever we want for our customers. And so we give the option for the user to either, buy into what we've built or, use their own sheet or even use their own API. They can set up their own server and use it.
Awesome. And in a way, you're also kind of doing the heavy lifting of the web development.
Yes.
Which was so before with the previous version of Templater, this was possible, but you needed a web developer to kind of do a lot of this sort of API work. Whereas with Q now, a non-programmer can leverage all of this power now much easier.
Yeah, and I should say we do have there are Zapier templates. I don't know if you guys know what Zapier is, but it's kind of an automated. So we built our tech lead John Christopherson built some fantastic integrations that where when you go to build a Zap, it knows about Q and it knows all the terminology and the nomenclature that the API uses. So it's really easy to do the no code flow stuff. So it's nice.
That's amazing.
No code flow.
No code
yeah,
flow.
Man. That's the future. No code flow. So yeah, so that's what's been going on in the dungeon.
It's fantastic. It's exciting to see it develop over the years. When did first Templater come out?
It was, I remember it was the summer of 2014.
Wow.
Long time.
That's a lot of development over the course of 8 years?
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, I had no idea it would be well received. I think, I'm very thankful for the customers to adopt it into their flows. Like it's a real special thing for a developer to build something and then have the users be like, oh, offering suggestions even. Even getting criticisms, I was like, holy shit, people are telling me what to do. This is fantastic. And so over time, it's just become this I learned that you have to keep up with Adobe's changes. You have to keep up with the OS changes. It becomes like a thing that I wasn't truly aware of until you start to see more people adopt the tool. And I remember giving it to Lloyd at first, and he's like, dude, you need to test it outside of your own machine. And I was like, why? And he was like, you just need to get it out of your realm. And I was like, my realm? Holy shit, do I have a throne? I was just like, so it was just realm. Yeah. So, I've learned a lot working with Lloyd, working with the other authors. Lloyd sets up a really fantastic community. He gives a face to it, and Absolutely. it's been really great. So I appreciate the partnership. Happy to help all the customers there.
And I'm seeing lots of claps from Vonnen over on Instagram, but I also wanted to see if anybody over on YouTube or Instagram have any questions about Templater. If you guys, whether you're users or if you're thinking about getting it, this is a live stream, so feel free to ask questions. And while we have him, we'd love to have any questions answered.
Right on.
No, but I think this is it's just it shows that the product constantly develops, like you said, listening to the feedback you get from users, and it's a symbiotic relationship. So that's really awesome.
Yeah, so there's credit should be given to the users. It's naturally you have to prioritize that, and that's hard, and but you just keep on going and offering, helping people. I think that's the key, is to know their pain points and address those pain points.
And also, what a common complaint or comment that we get is that Adobe should have this built in. and you should be able to do this default. And I always respond to I disagree, because Adobe is a huge company. After Effects has hundreds of thousands, if not millions of users. It's impossible for them to address the needs of every user. And by having APIs and allowing things like plugins and extensions and scripts, that tools like Templater can be created to address very specific sort of needs. And then, or not very specific, but because Templater is very versatile itself as well, but the much more direct line of communication to be able to get certain features implemented that you might not be able to otherwise. So,
yeah, and I mean that's part of the reason I think I love Adobe. Like since whatever I was an undergrad, is that they make an effort to make sure the developers are able to kind of play, right? Like they can't figure out every little workflow or every little UI interaction that should happen, so that it makes a user's life easier. They do their best though, and they open it up. And I think that's what is special. The one thing I should say though, Lloyd, about this release of Templater, I just have to plug this, is that it has built-in layout logic. As the data comes in, it rearranges stuff. So we decided to enable this switch so that you can turn that off. Users can completely turn off the AI inside of Templater and use their own layout responsive designs that Adobe, has made strides in doing. And so it's like, the other authors that are putting together tools on your site, such as Pins and Boxes by Mammo World and Form, I think by Zach Lovat, like those tools allow for responsive designs to happen inside of a regular After Effects project. And now with Templater, you can put the data in, and those tools will react correspondingly. It's pretty powerful now. And so that was kind of taken from inspiration from Adobe. They do that. They open up their platforms in a way that make people want to build atop of that. So
right, exactly. So
nice.
if the solution you provided is not working exactly like you want, but there's this other tool that does, now Templater will work with that other product, and that's amazing. That's
it's really nice.
And I think it's just worth mentioning also, Alan also brings up that Templater 3 is now optimized for multi-frame rendering in After Effects and is native for Apple Silicon, which if you're fancy, you got a new system, you guys. One, I'm jealous, but two, you're good to go.
I honestly, I do have the M1. That's how I was able to even build it for the Silicon chip. And I have to say, Apple did a good job here. Like the performance, the responsiveness, the way the battery is handled on the M1, it's well done. So that's just a plug for Apple.
Agreed.
Also, we've had a lot of people join while we've been talking. I see Sarah's in here asking about the discussion. We're talking about Templater 3 during the aescripts and AE plugin summer sale. Hello to Diego. And you guys should check it on out. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a link. I mean, you have a lot of different offerings because it's a subscription service, right?
There's three different tiers of the application, each increasing in powerfulness. There's a perpetual license actually that's very cheap, and it allows you to actually connect the data to the layers. But if you want automatic animation, you can just do short-term licenses, like pay 1 month up front. You can do an annual license if you decide this is a core part of your business, but you are in the edit bay and you're using it. And then once you get to the enterprise kind of video on demand level, that's what we call Templater Bot. Both the Pro and the Bot are subscription-based licensing. So
And you get the support along with that. I mean, this is not in a vacuum. So
right, we are here for it. We have 3 support personnel, and so we know that the users are doing mission critical stuff with this. This isn't this is like for an award show or something, and you need 100 slates. Like that kind of nightmare for a producer is something we were trying to solve. There's Donnie, or there's Walter, and the dude that came in from that web form that I created. So
nice.
Well, thank you so much. Cool. We appreciate you walking us through all this. It's
my
on
pleasure.
sale for the next few hours until midnight, so you guys got 12 hours left depending on where you are in the world, actually, Lloyd, because I think.
Yeah, no, we it officially ends at midnight, but we always allow a few extra hours. We've learned the hard way that people love to go at it at the last minute. So if you're a few hours late, we got you.
And I think awards show is such a great example of you want to be kind to yourself, and if you have a lot of things to export, Templater is going to save you literally hours of work. So make sure you guys check it on out. But
definitely. Okay.
This also isn't your first time on the live stream, so we thank you for coming back again. And looking forward to seeing where it goes in the future.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Lloyd.
Thanks,
have a good one.
See you, man.
Take care.
Right.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
All right, and it's back to just the two of us. El Chat over on YouTube was asking if the people on the stream are the owners, and I guess this is a hostile takeover because I now own aescripts.
Are they making a tender offer?
Yeah. But no, Lloyd Blow is, would you say CEO? Are you CEO or you just say creator?
Oh, man, I don't believe in titles, but I think my business card says Chief Troublemaker.
Does it really? And how long has aescripts been around? It was early aughts, right?
Yeah, so it was initially launched in 2008, back when it was a free site and we didn't have a domain or anything like that. And then in 2012, it became its own entity. So we registered aescripts Inc. as a company, and we did a major relaunch of the site. So it depends. I don't know how you like to look at it, but that would make it either our 14th anniversary or our 10th anniversary. It depends how you like to look at it. So we've been around a while.
No matter what.
Yeah.
Zaza over on Instagram is asking if we can do tutorials. There's been a few other live streams this week, and we've had a few of the developers on going through some of the tutorials. Actually, earlier in today's stream as well, we walked a little bit through Templater, which is cool. For the rest of the stream today, we're just going to highlight a few other things. And if you go to any of the product pages that we have, you'll be able to see, or not the product pages, I always say product pages. But if you go to the products, you'll be able to link out to the tutorials tab, and you'll be able to learn some ways to use these products. But for the rest of the day, we're mostly just going to be going over some of the things that are offered and then answering any questions if you guys have them about the things that we highlight. Next,
we also, if you go to our website and there's a tab called Learn, and if under Learn, there's a sub tab called Tutorials, and you can find thousands of tutorials for our products there.
Great point. But next up, we're going to bring in NataWorks, who's going to walk you guys through his offering, which is exciting. And I'm going to let him introduce it, but let's hop on over there and you guys can check out what it's all about.
Hello, everybody. Nikita here from NataWorks Studio. Thank you for this opportunity. Here to talk to you about two of our products. One is AfterKing and another one is Projection 3D. So let's start with AfterKing, which is a great compositing tool that you can use to bring back a lot of translucent details into your videos. Things like lost hair, for example, and many other little things like that can be easily restored and brought back into your videos. AfterKing can also help you integrate objects or characters into your environment. It works equally well with both Chroma and Luma Key, and you can obviously use it with RotoBrush as well. So you can get excellent results with that, and AfterKing is just an awesome way to integrate your objects into your environment. Very fast, very easy. You should definitely try it out. Our second product is Projection 3D. With Projection 3D, you can create very realistic 3D animation using just photos. Or similarly, you can apply movement to static videos as well. Projection 3D uses After Effects 3D Space, which means you can use all 3D effects and plugins, integrate with Element 3D, Stardust, Trapcode Particular, CC Particle World, all that good stuff. Our plugin uses After Effects Camera to create movement, which is actually very important because this means that you can integrate a character filmed on green screen into 3D space very fast and very easy. You can get a fantastic video frame having only one image at hand and a person on green screen, and that's all it takes. You can get a fantastic video.
Yeah. So I mean, both of them are incredible offerings. You have the Chroma Clean cleanup. Well, actually, I say also he says in that video he says Chroma. Is it Chroma or is it Chroma?
No,
or
it's
it
Chroma.
Oh, it is Chroma. Okay.
They're not
I didn't know if
native
it was
speakers.
tomato or not. You know.
No, yeah.
But the thing that I always learned about production was that, you can have amazing visuals, but if your audio is bad, everyone is going to feel uncomfortable. I think that they can also be extended to green screen. You can have like the best visuals ever, but the second that I can tell that it's a green screen, it's going to break this fourth wall that is not great. And there's some things that you can do, and you can really mess with the settings, and you can really take the time to really get those extra pieces of hair. But with this tool, it makes it a lot easier to not accidentally have a bad green screen. And really just really polish what you already have and take back a lot of the time of painstakingly going through and getting the details that you want.
Yeah, I mean, what after keying does, which is a common theme in a lot of our tools, is remember how I was talking about back in the day. If you were a compositor, you were hired because you knew all the secrets, you knew all the tricks that you needed to do to get things to look good. And so tools like after keying apply a lot of these tricks that you don't need to know. You can just basically click some buttons and it does all of the tricks so that it can get you back like the fine detail of hair or smoke or something. And like you said, it improves your green screen composite, without having to know all the tricks and whatever.
Yeah, because it is extensive as far as the tricks, and if you've ever dealt with only mediocre lit green screen, the paint struggles happen very quickly.
But it doesn't even need to just be about mediocre stuff. I mean, if you have a perfectly shot green screen, if you don't know how to composite green screen, it's not going to look good, even if you have the assets correct. Like, so you could have, for example, bought a pre-shot, perfectly lit green screen from an Adobe stock website or something like that. But you're not an experienced compositor, so a tool like After Keying can just basically make sure that your green screen composite looks as good as it can possibly look.
And it can transform the things that you create feel like they're not made in a place that is just your quarantined studio. And I think that Projection 3D is also another complement to that, because now you can take photos and you can build these environments where then you can kind of like drone through them per se, or like let's say you're a real estate agent and you want to like build out a place to make it feel 3D, but you can't go back there for an extra shot. You can go and you can load these pictures in, and I mean, if you could even hypothetically use green screen with that as well, then you can kind of build this whole environment. It's really powerful.
Yeah, so sorry. So now, just to make it clear, we're talking about now a different plugin called Projection 3D, and that plugin actually lets you do some really amazing things that would be very, very, very difficult to do by hand. So as you well know, After Effects is a 2D program, but it does have a 3D camera and 3D layers that are usually flat layers. Where's the camera? Here we go. So even though it's in 3D space, it's always just a flat layer. So what they've done is they actually use what's called camera projection, which means that the camera from a very specific angle makes it seem like something is extruded in 3D when it really isn't. And what it does is that allows you to add a little bit of life, so you can like cut out parts of a still photo, put it in different parts in space. It like projects down the side, and so it gives it a little bit of even extrusion and feel and depth. And you can move the camera a little bit around so it feels like it's a live shot element, but it really is just a bunch of flat 2D layers that from the very specific angle of the camera looks 3D. And that's what the plugin does. It actually handles all of that complicated math and layout and compositing for you. Yeah. So that is a super powerful program, and you can really generate really amazing looking looking things with that plugin. And there are actually, speaking of tutorials, there's lots and lots of tutorials on how to create some really insane scenes that it's like will blow your mind to know that they were done from just 2D images.
Yeah. Hello to Isomotion in the chat. Also, John is saying in the chat over on Instagram, the easier it becomes to make the videos, the less job security we have. But I will say that these make it so you can use them as well, and you can spend your time focusing on more complex effects, or you can really take it and make it. You know, just because the tools are there doesn't necessarily mean that everyone's going to be able to have the skill set to.
That's right.
To make the same things that you're going to make. And because you now have further and stronger tools, you can then continue to create even more complex things on top of that you wouldn't be able to build otherwise. But I agree with AI and everything. I know I talk about AI a lot, but it is always a developing profession, and it is always evolving. I mean, you look at where the profession was 10 years ago and where it is now. And I mean, even kids getting out of school now, right now, I haven't even been out of school for 10 years, and it's already like the kids that are graduating, the stuff that they already know. I'm like, oh man, I didn't know I was this old already. It's just constantly evolving, and which is cool and exciting. But I see your concerns, but also you can be a frontier man for that as well. And
well, like getting back to projection 3D, projection mapping is something that was developed in 3D applications. So the way it used to work is you would actually model shapes that were similar to what was in the video. So if you had like a globe, you would model a sphere, and then you would project the flat 2D video or still onto that 3D object, and it would map. I have to look at the camera. See, it would look like it was around, so you could move the camera a little bit, and it would feel like it was 3D when it really, again, was just a 2D video. But again, that required a lot of knowledge, and it had to be done in a 3D application. So Projection 3D now allows you to do it in After Effects, so you don't have to go into a 3D app, and you don't have to have all the technical skills and knowledge to know how to do projection mapping. Just follow the tutorial and click the buttons, and it'll do it for you. It's pretty awesome.
And that said, there's a lot of things that are available on aescripts that make it so that you don't have to hop around programs as much, and they bring the functionality of different 3D and different programs and audio editing. Like there's one that is not on sale this week, but I got it during an older sale, and it makes it so that audio editing is easier in After Effects, which is kind of a sin, but you know, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and it's nice to be able to just make your workflow easier for yourself and being kinder to yourself as you work, because you get to get more done and you get to be more excited about doing it rather than kind of groaning over doing something else. We've been live for almost an hour, and I don't want to keep you guys too long, but I do want to take the time to just highlight maybe just like 2 or more so things that are being offered right now. So let's check out their trailer, and then if we could talk a little bit about it. But the first one we have is Coco Color Coworker, which helps you work with colors as you would expect within After Effects. So let's check it out.
Coco is the color coworker in your editing workflow. Coco is a color palette, gradient maker, contrast and color checker, palette from image creator, and more. Access thousands of beautiful and trendy palettes, or create your own to add to your library. The library makes it easy to manage all your palettes, easy to search and customize. You will love being able to make color palettes from images and footage. Generate or browse beautiful color combinations for your designs. Discover tons of designer-created color gradients. Find your favorite and apply it with a single click. Coco comes with thousands of beautiful hand-picked solid colors. This is a great way to start any project. Simply choosing colors, however, is not enough. You need to make sure your colors work correctly. Use the contrast checker and color blind simulation to make sure your colors work in all situations. Coco, the color coworker. Enjoy working with color in After Effects.
I think that's really a strong point at the end, accessibility, and the idea that it's something that you don't really think of a lot of times is you put something out. And it's an amazing percentage of men are colorblind. I say men because it's actually more likely for a man to be colorblind than a woman for some reason. But it's a larger percentage than you would think, and just having that accessibility for your videos is really important.
Yeah, we got a lot of kudos actually when we released that feature because a lot of designers are very concerned about their colors, but nobody thinks to check about color blindness. So it's a very easy tool that lets you just take what you designed and take a look at it and see it as a colorblind person would see it. And sometimes it's just a matter of tweaking the contrast just a little bit. Doesn't really look much different than the real version. And now you have something that is universally being able to be watched. It just makes, it's almost like, have you ever heard that, like, if you do a mix for like a music mix, you want to listen to it in a crappy stereo in the car, so to make sure that it sounds good. And if it sounds good there, it's going to sound good everywhere. So it's kind of like that concept, you know?
Yeah, because you can have access to the studio as much as you want, but not the people that are listening to your album aren't going to necessarily have studio quality speakers.
Yeah.
So, but Lloyd's mixtape is dropping during the next summer sale, so you guys are going to have to wait for that. And then real quick, the last one that I want to do real quick is just the vertex tool. And this one's really cool because if you're editing shapes a lot, I know we talked about pen pal a little bit earlier in the week, but this is just, I got this one today and I'm really excited to use it. But it helps for like rounding corners and both uniform and just on like certain areas that you're going to create new shapes on the side. So let's check that out.
Hi, I'm Render Tom, and this is a quick demo video for After Effects script Vertex tool. It provides easy way to control your mask or shape layer corners. Select a path on shape layer or a mask on a solid layer and launch the script. Select Target All when applying rounding method to all vertices of your shape, or use Target 1 to act on one specified vertex. Use navigation buttons to set preferred vertex point in focus. Radius is the distance from selected vertex, and percentage is the distance between selected and neighboring vertices. If you are going to transition from original shape to rounded one, then enable Animate option and set morphing duration in frames. This will ensure that the transition goes as smooth as possible. Failing to enable this checkbox might result in weird and undesired transformation. Do not forget to make a backup copy of your path when dealing with complex shapes. The Store Shape Data option does this for you. It reads shape data, that is position of all vertices, and in and out tangents, and stores it in expression field. Later, if you need to restore original shape, you can do so with the Restore Shape button. The original shape and keyframe will be created at the time at which it was recorded. Set Custom Vertex Coordinates will open up a dialog where you can specify coordinates for a selected vertex. You can also define the in and out tangents and choose either layer space or screen space coordinate system. Find intersection point will calculate intersection of two lines. First line is defined by current vertex index -1 and current vertex, while second line is defined by current vertex index +2 and current vertex index +1. If these two lines intersect at any point in space, then two vertices will be merged there. This option is useful when you need to transition from rounded shape to a sharp corner.
All right. And I mean, I think it's really cool how you can keyframe it out and you can really use it to really morph shapes as you're working through the shapes tools in After Effects. Oh, there's a cat.
Your cat wants to be on the show. Yeah, Vertex tool is another example of one of those tools where normally you would have to be going into Illustrator to get that kind of control of your Bezier handles, but this just lets you basically stay in After Effects and keep working in After Effects and getting it done. So awesome.
All right. Well, that's everything that I had planned for today.
Yes.
But you have, like you said, 12 more hours until the sale is up. There's lots of different participating authors, which you can get up to 20% off, and then as you continue, it can
no, up to 30% off. You start with 20% off.
Yeah, and then it increases and increases, which is pretty cool. So these are all the participating authors for this week. As you guys know or don't know, the Summer of Sales happens once a week. I mean, once a month, a week. Wow, I can't even talk. Happens once a month for a week all through summer. So there's 3 more weeks of sales this summer. So you just got to check out what's going to be offered, because the different things are offered different weeks. I saw someone earlier in the YouTube chat mentioning how they were excited about something happening later. During August, I'm going to grab Lockdown. Lockdown's really great. We talked about Lockdown a little bit last year, and it's a wonderful tool. So make sure, even if you just want to go on and add things to your wish list for later in the summer, it's just a great way to kind of explore new tools and see how you can increase your workflow. Yeah, as Lloyd was saying, there is a update to the tier system with 20% off participating authors. You spend 100, you get 25% off, and then if you spend 250, you get 30% off. So yeah, you guys check it out. Thanks for being here today. Thank you to Data Clay and NataWorks Studio. Thank you to everyone in the chat that dropped in and asked questions and said hello. It was great to see so many of you over on Instagram and YouTube. Make sure you give aescripts a follow on both YouTube and on Instagram. In particular, on YouTube, aescripts does a really good job at posting all the tutorials and walkthroughs when it comes to the plugins, especially updates too. I've learned a lot about my updates through it. You can also use the plugin manager, which you can automatically update and license stuff. And yeah, you name it.
And thank you, Ryan, for being our hostess with the mostest.
Of course, it's always a pleasure. I love doing these. It's great to do the live streams. Apparently, thanks to my cat, who's annoying me right now. Thank you to Lloyd for creating such a great website and having the opportunity for this sale. As he always likes to point out, and I like to point out as well, the site is beautifully priced for value, even when the sales are not going on. But just the way that our brains work, including mine, a lot of times you just don't get things until there is a sale. So it's a good excuse to celebrate and get some new stuff for your workflow.
All right, we'll see you next month, Ryan.
All right, see you.
The next
see
sale
everybody else
starts
next
when?
month. I should know that, and I don't. When's the next sale?
Monday, June 13th.
15th. Get ready for it.
Monday, June 13th.
All right, guys, we're going to play the promo video, which was made by the Duo team down in Mexico, right?
No. They're half based in the United States and half based in Colombia.
Colombia. Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies. But the Duo team is fantastic. They did a lot of cell animation for this, frame by frame, and then they also obviously used a lot of tools that we kind of go over and touch on. Some cool gamification, and I'm excited to see where the promo video expands to with the aescripts canon and lore.
Actually, yeah, that's worth mentioning that it's this year we did it as a 4-part series. So for all the collectors out there, you want to collect all of them, and so it's an evolving story. So if you pay attention, there's a lot of details in the promo. The characters are collecting points because just like the sale, each diamond they collect is 10 points, and then the final diamond is 50 points, so they get 250 points, which means they qualify for the top tier discount. So. And again, it's going to continue. So next month, we're going to have a new promo. And then the third week and the fourth week, different promos. So
very, very cool.
Keep your eyes out.
And to Musta, it is a real cat. It's not CGI. It's not a downloadable, plugin for this sale. But thank you guys again. Talk to you all soon. And have a great weekend. Make sure you fill up your cart before the end of the day. And let us know if you get anything. Make sure you tag aescripts, whether you are using a plugin or you got some plugins that you're excited about. It's always really great to see. And
we repost anything that you tag aescripts. We will repost because we love to help promote work that's being done with our products. So just tag aescripts and mention the tools that you use in the description, and we will repost it on our social media channels, which we have, I think combined almost 500,000 followers, so you get a lot of exposure.
Oh. All right, guys. I'm going to say goodbye one more time. I keep saying goodbye and it's giving more information. This is my last goodbye. Thanks again, Lloyd. Talk to you guys soon.